before the age of 21. How did you stay so driven and successful, hello there, but while still knowing all about the hazards of Hollywood?
Yeah. Okay, wait, Jackie. Hey, if you guys want to join, it's I'm at Sean Astin, and we're periscoping right now. Hi. Okay, we have 42 people so far. All right. Oh, love you too. See, I could just read. A lot of questions coming through here. I don't think I've successfully periscoped during a Fan Expo. So hello everybody and welcome to Periscope. And these are just a few of my Canadian friends. So the question put to me was, how did I have such a level head in the film industry, given that I started so young and that there's so many pitfalls, drugs, and other kinds of things? Well, my parents were, I was always surrounded with love. I mean, no matter how literally, clinically insane my mother got, she always loved us, my little brother, my older brothers, and me. And my father always emphasized the importance of a classical, a traditional education. So a lot of set kids will, you have your 3-hour tutor, and then that's your education. My father always insisted that if I was going to make movies, that that when the movie was over, I could step into my normal class schedule and take an exam and do, and be able to, do the rest of the work that everybody else was doing. So that, I would say, the emphasis on education, being surrounded by love, and then, after I met my mom, and then when I met my wife, you can't have too big an ego when there's people who are honest with you around you, and now with children, they don't let me get away with anything ever. So that's why I come to these things, because people, you've seen things that you like that I'm in, right? See, I told you.
Okay, let's talk about the Goonies.
Okay, the Goonies.
You were handpicked by Steven Spielberg. Did you have any idea of the gravity of that moment, and how was that experience working on that film?
The gravity of the moment makes me think of like Jonas Salk and the polio vaccine. Like I'm not sure the gravity. There was gravity. You're right. There was in the pop culture space. Okay, so I'll start it, and you guys finish it. Goonies. All right, well, those of you who are shy, I'm not sure. We'll try it again. Goonies. Grave. Grave and gravity are related. Yeah, you knew that when Richard Donner, the director, and Steven Spielberg, and Harvey Bernhard, they were all in that, one of the producers, they were all in the room when I auditioned. It's kind of a funny story. My friend Mark Marshall, friend to this day, when I arrived at Amblin Studios, which is Steven's production company, and you see on the wall E.T. and they'd have the number, the box office gross numbers, and you knew you were in a place that was, just massive. You were in a massive space. So I'm walking with Mark, he's an assistant to Steven at that point, and we're walking down the hall of Amblin. It's lovely sort of Spanish tile with the little arches. I remember the architectural layout of it. And just before we walk in, he says, "You look a little nervous." And I said, "Well, yeah, I am a little nervous." And he said, "Well, I don't see why. You're just about to meet the most powerful man in Hollywood." And he opens the door. Thanks, Mark. That was awesome. Awesome setup. So I did the audition. I cursed when I messed up. There's children in here, so I shan't curse on a Sunday in Regina. But GD is what my mother-in-law would say. And then Steven got up and walked out. So I thought, well, obviously I'm never going to work in Hollywood again. I've just offended the Don, the godfather of the industry. And but later he would say that he thought he was making me nervous, so he left, and he was, and so that was nice. And Richard Donner came around and he talked to me, had a conversation, and I remember he was thinking, what can I say to this kid to really get this performance out of him? And all I can remember thinking was, I wish he would stop talking, I'm nervous and have to pee. No, I just made that up. So, but anyway, I did it again, and I worked on it with my father. He had helped me with the audition a lot. We had spent hours trying to get it right, and he really sort of shaped my craft just in that 90 minutes, 2 hours of working together, because he kept saying to me, don't act. Stop doing your idea of a 12-year-old kid and just be yourself. Be honest. And that's really powerful. That really carried me through, all the way through Samwise and hopefully through what I do now, is trying my best to be authentic, natural, real, believable. The most painful direction I ever got from Peter Jackson was after some moment looking at the Oliphants or doing something, and he came up and he said, I just didn't believe that. Oh, a dagger through the heart. Anyhow, so by the time we got back in the car with my dad, he said, how did it go? I said, we didn't get it. He said, why not? I said, I couldn't get through it. He couldn't believe it. He absolutely couldn't believe it. He said that he was, he said, you could not possibly have been more prepared for that audition. You were so ready. I refused to believe that you messed up. I said, I did. I was nervous. It was Steven Spielberg. And so he couldn't believe it. Then there was another movie called The Explorers. Who remembers The Explorers? I don't know what that says about you. It's the screenplay for The Explorers. Joe Dante was producing it. He did the Gremlins and other great things. It was fantastic. These little boys in their backyard who build a spaceship and they go out in outer space was really, really special. And so I was going to screen test for it. And in the classic Hollywood tradition of you go in and it's actual cameras and you do your take or two and then you leave and somebody else does and then they choose you make a deal beforehand, the contract ahead of time, so they're basically, when they're making their decision, they know exactly what they're dealing with. And by the time we got home from the Goonies audition, I had an offer to play Mikey, and my dad said, of course you did, of course you did. And I had to choose, do I take the offer to play Mikey? I'm like 12 or 13 now, right? Or do I screen test for The Explorers, which is not a guarantee. Take the bird in the hand or the two in the bush. Is that Canadian expression? No.
Yeah,
They do?
today it is.
You take the moose in the hand versus...
There we go.
The sigh. That sigh with the white glasses on, she rolled her eyes. I could see it in the sixth row, moose joke eye rolling. So, you can't help it. You want to loony and everyone. So anyhow, I read the Goonies, the whole screenplay. I think it was the most I'd ever read in one sitting in my life at 12. And I got to kiss the girl. There was no girl in The Explorers. So it wasn't hard to take the offer where I get to kiss the girl versus the test I might not get with no girl. So I did the Goonies. And the gravity of it was quite apparent, yeah. It is still shocking, though, that 30 years later, people still carry it in their hearts and love it and get our images tattooed on themselves. Raise your hand if you have a Goonies tattoo. No? Wow. Well, I commend you for your restraint, and also getting their kids to watch it. And there will eventually, someday, somewhere, somehow, there will be a Goonies sequel. That's always a question people want to know. Usually Richard Donner will walk out of a restaurant and a TMZ photographer will be there and they'll say, is there going to be, what do you got going on? And he'll say, well, we're working on the Goonies sequel. And then anytime myself or any of the other Goonies goes in public for the next 2 years, what's happening? We understand there's a Goonies sequel. What's the story? Are you in the Goonies sequel? And you think, I don't know. So anyhow. Wrong answer to the short question. I got lots of those.
No worries. We're going to get to fan questions in a second, so if you want to start lining up, we're going to get to that next. I do want to ask about Lord of the Rings. Peter Jackson had said he really wanted this gritty emotionalism and intensity to the films, and the scene on Mount Doom in Return of the King with Elijah Wood. What seems like it would be quite an acting challenge to a serious actor. Can you talk to us about that scene and about?
Yes, but if we're going to talk about Sam and Frodo on Mount Doom, we can't Periscope anymore. That's private. That's Mr. Frodo and my experience, and it's not meant to be shared except from the book. So, can everybody say goodbye to my Periscope? Oh, that was a very half-hearted Canadian response. I do. Wait, yeah, come on. I hate having to beg for it, but it worked.